What's up, guys? Welcome to episode number 81 of the Always Race Day podcast presented by the Karl Auto Group. I'm Connor Ferguson, here with Damon Helgevald. And the first thing that I want to ask you is if you're in need of a car to go see this electric Missouri football program, go down to the Karl Auto Group and get one yourself. Because let me tell you, between the three border schools that have their little shindig around Iowa, between Missouri, Kansas State, and KU. Missouri is definitely the best. I love them way more.
Yeah, I do too. I enjoy them a lot more.
Yeah, the K-State fans talking crap about corn on Twitter today. It's annoying. It's like the dumbest argument you could get into. And then we go that other Kansas school. We don't need to talk about that one. No,
Hell is froze over. I just know that.
it's all good. I do want to implore you, go down to the Karl Auto Group. If you need a car, if you need a way to get from one place to another, or from a different place than the first one, but making a stop in between and then the third one, Karl Auto Group can probably hook you up. Some really
There's a lot going on in that read. Stopping in 8 different spots. It's like going on a road trip with the family. You don't have to bathroom here, but you got to the next 10 miles.
I didn't have that one prepared, but that's usually how my road trips go. The Bristol one gets weird because there's an hour where I stop to piss 3 times.
That's awful.
Well, it's just I gotta pee again. God. And it's I'm driving though, and no one's sitting there telling me that I can't get out of the car to piss.
Be glad that I'm not with you, because I would tell you you're not stopping.
We wouldn't stop too bad. We'd be fine. Before we get started and hop into everything, I do want to say rest in peace to Rick Eshelman, World of Outlaws late model series announcer. He passed away over the weekend, took his own life. Just want to say, if anything is bothering people out there, if something's getting at you, my DMs are always open, and I'm probably the least judgmental person you can find. Now, if you come at me real aggressively, then I'll probably chirp you a little bit. But in terms of if you need someone to talk to, reach out. I hate to see that. And I hated hearing all about the news of that, especially just with how quirky of a guy Rick was, what he did for late model racing. And World of Outlaws lost an iconic voice and an iconic person as well. So I wanted to not really get this out of the way. And so I wanted to bring someone on here to talk about Rick a little bit, but I thought balancing whether you get into, are you doing this for listens or clicks and stuff like that, and I never want to be in that business, but I did want to say that and get the sad stuff out of the way at the first part of the episode, because obviously it stinks losing Rick.
Yeah, man. What a tough situation to see. That's a guy that you grow up listening to, and you've heard at not only just with the Outlaws, but when he was doing other shows and other events with late model racing across the country. It's a guy that you hear a lot of, and he is the voice of some iconic races and the voice of some of the great moments in late model racing for sure. And that's a tough part. But man, the guy had, had a heart of gold. The crazy thing is, shortly after the dirt track in Osceola closed down, he utilized his Twitter platform and following, and went to all these small tracks across the country that had closed. And so he stopped in Osceola a couple years after they had closed down the track there, and was able to meet up with some buddies of mine that owned the track, and got to talk to him. And they said that there's not a more genuine dude when it comes to to just learning about the facility and what it had, and learning about the racing, and then them being able to learn from him some of the stories that he's got. And boy, they said that he had some good stuff. So sad to see. Felt bad to read that. Felt bad for the family. And man, that's a guy that it's a tough guy to fill some shoes with, because no doubt about it.
Yeah, absolutely. How's your weekend? Let's get a little lighter on the topics.
My weekend outside of Saturday was great.
What happened? Oh, yeah.
Saturday could have gone a hell of a lot better. But outside of that, it was great. Got to spend it with the parents. Came down to Columbia, watched Iowa State decide to not play football offensively, and then we went to St. Louis to the drag races.
What was your biggest disappointment in watching that game? I'm curious to hear
The lack of offensive urgency. Like, there was zero offensive urgency in that entire game. No ability to open up the field when the ability was there. It was pretty darn clear that they could have opened the field up a little bit, and they didn't do it. Anytime that they did, they took advantage. Kansas was not good. I'm just going to say this. Kansas fans are going to hate me. The world's going to come at me. Kansas is overrated, folks. Like, they played some bad football teams to start the year, and then they caught Iowa State on a day where their offense struggled. They held them to 48 some yards or something like that in the
52.
second half. 52?
Yeah.
Yeah. So held them to 52 offensive yards in the second half. Come on. That was, so to me, the lack of offensive urgency, that bothered me quite a bit, I guess.
No, I think any Kansas fan that I don't want to say isn't full of himself, but any of them that will look outside the red and blue covered glasses, or whatever that saying is, would probably agree with you. Their schedule hasn't been anything, but you've won 5 games. You're about to go to a bowl game, as long as you don't repeat what happened in 2009, the last time you went 5-0. So,
hey, you should put a jinx on them.
I mean, hey, the last time they were 5-0, they finished 0-7, so we'll see.
There you go. Now we're talking.
Oh man, we have
what I got to hear your side of it. What bothered you? What bothered you the most?
Well, there's one obvious thing, but I don't want to pile on that guy.
That's why I didn't say it.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I think he's a freshman. I don't know how you develop kicker strength. I don't know. I haven't seen enough football or know enough. Maybe I need to get Jimmy on the show anyways. We'll get Jimmy on the show later this week. He's my buddy that he's a indoor football championship kicker. So he has a ring. More rings than you do. Both you and me. Till I win my pro roller hockey ring. I don't know if they make rings for that. Maybe we'll get like a silly band. Or maybe like one of those Live Strong bracelets that has like...
You get a banner and a t-shirt.
That'd be cool with me. That'd be my live stream. I might retire if that happened. That'd be beating like Hawaii, Colorado, Columbia. Like you think I'm joking, like Columbia, like country.
Colombia.
Yeah, that one. They're pretty damn good. So we'll have to get him on. I don't know what like the floor to ceiling is on kicker leg strength, but like when I said he like looked like an NCAA 14 kicker in the first couple of games, it was because the kicks were so low, and it didn't look like it would have made it much more than like 10 yards past the field goal post, which was every kick in that game.
Yep.
That was like the worst aspect of that game, was all the kickers sucked.
Yep.
So that like, I feel like in later years he'll develop a leg, and it only takes one game-winning field goal to win over the fan base. We saw that. Well, Connor S. Alley had some help with his last name on that one, but
yeah,
it does not take much to win over Iowa State's fan base with kickers, and as we've seen, that's a big jinx. I'm not saying that lost Iowa State the game. What lost in the game was Jairo Brock being injured.
Yes and no. I beg to differ a little bit. I mean,
Deion Silas
9 points.
wasn't pass blocking enough. Not enough, I should say, well enough. Those guys were moving the ball at times, but other times where they were getting tackled 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage, Brock maybe turns that into a 3-yard gain or something, which is what stout Iowa State running backs would do. You also didn't have Norton traveling, so your running game was very limited. What that would turn to me to do is to spread out the field and throw it downfield more, because getting chunk plays in a game against Kansas isn't the same result that you're going to get as getting chunk plays in a game against Iowa. So I don't know if they misread the situation or what the game plan was. I would have liked to see the ball going down the field more. I don't think Hunter Decker sucks. I think he had a bad game. You watched him play really well against Iowa, so that kind of tells me, hey, he's a pretty damn good quarterback. He was also a 4-star. And then the only other thing that bothered me was not sneaking in on 4th and inches. This is my theory, and it goes for everyone. It doesn't go for Iowa State exclusively. And if you're tired of the football talk, let me know. We'll try to limit it because we're getting really in depth here.
No, screw them.
If you see 4th and inches on your opponent's side of the 50 and you don't put your offense on the field, there's no reason you should coach an offense. Flat out. You shouldn't even have an offense. You should just punt it and play defense the entire game and see if you can come up with something. I'm serious. Like, there's no reason to have an offense if you don't believe that they can gain half a yard.
Yeah. I mean, in that particular situation, they should have gone for that.
So I think you should go for it. I thought they were going for it, which is why they let 17 seconds run off the clock before taking a timeout. That final timeout, and they took the timeout with 32 seconds left on the clock. And I'm sitting here like, I've played video games my whole life. I would punch myself in the what's if I did that.
Yep.
I'm like, what are we doing here? We need, I don't know if it isn't easy to do it in real life, but if you want to pay me to sit in the stands and call you with, should I take a timeout now or in 15 seconds? I certainly would love to. Would love to try. Yeah. I would implore any video game clock guy. It's so weird, like college and NFL coaches both. It seems like to us, because we're sitting here on our couches watching the games on TV and have no sense about what's going on. But it's like there's a chart of when to take a timeout and when not to, and that was a time where you shouldn't have.
Well, you either don't take the timeout or you take it right away so you have more time so you can sneak the ball instead of waste 17 seconds.
Yeah, I was shocked Kansas didn't ice the kicker.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it would have helped us, but they got the lucky end of the draw because that ball was not going to be good on a high school goalpost. So
yeah, well, it certainly would have helped us.
I would have taken it.
Nope.
Take every bit of it.
All right. What do you want to talk about first? We'll talk about real racing first, because we just gave 10 minutes of football, so I feel kind of bad. We'll talk about real racing from the weekend, and then I'll have my extensive review of the World of Outlaws game along with Damon. It's our reviews, I guess, or one singular. I don't know, however you want to do it. Damon, I wanted to start with this headline I found. This is a new segment we're doing.
This is news to me, folks.
That's why I'm bringing it up now. It's the craziest headline racing-wise I saw on the internet.
And it was?
So F1feederseries.com. I believe this is their minor league touring series. They posted that this weekend, the Bugatti Circuit of Le Mans will host one of the most intriguing races of all of motorsports history. Pretty valiant first sentence there. Let's see if it delivers in the next.
What's the headline? I thought you said this was a headline.
I do apologize. I don't actually have the headline. The headline is a paragraph of bold text.
This is lame.
Preceded by the author's name. Okay, here's the
This is a
second.
bad,
Here's the
bad news
second.
segment.
Jeez, oh man, just give me a chance here, buddy. So it says 22 YouTube and Twitch content creators. There's a kicker coming up here. 22 YouTube and Twitch content creators with zero racing experience will drive the Mygale M21 used in the French F4 Championship Series. F1 Feeder Series takes a closer look at this revolutionary experiment.
Dear God.
They're just taking
if
Twitch streamers and saying you can race our cars.
As if the world already didn't have enough idiots. Now we're going to put people into cars that have no business being in race cars.
This is the equivalent of me driving Sammy Smith's ARCA car.
Yes.
That's a scary thought.
I really don't know what to say.
I'm excited to see the highlights for it. I'm be posting about it all weekend.
Yeah, you will, because somebody will be dead.
I hope no one dies.
Someone's going to end up dead. You know it. Because they're going to drive these cars just like they race on GTA and Forza. That's how they're going to do this. All these online gamers, they're going to get behind it. Oh, this is just like racing a NASCAR, so we're just going to throw it in there and hope to God it sticks.
I just love how they label it as a revolutionary experiment, as if this is no doubt going to go at least in a direction that teaches us things.
God, I have a lot of words I could say right now, but none of them are PG-13.
Dude, it's so funny. Like people, because I've told you about conversations I've had with guys. It's like, would you ever like take laps in a 305? I'm like, no. Dude, I rode in an Indy car and about blacked out. Not like physically, but I just sat there like amazed at the memory I was making and didn't pay enough attention.
In shock.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, shoot, dude, I don't think anyone that's not driven should be able to hop into a race, especially like what are we practicing here? What is the hot laps to heat race ratio? What are we doing?
Not enough. Whatever it is, it's not enough.
All right. I don't think we have anything more revolutionary.
Whatever it is, it's not enough.
Do you want to cover the other small stuff and then get to NASCAR?
Yeah, let's hit some stuff quick.
I shouldn't say small stuff because we'll talk World of Outlaws probably before we get NASCAR because that'll be bigger. So I'm turning off half the fan base with every word I say on here. I swear to God. Like, someone's listening and they're going to be like, God damn, they're already talking NASCAR.
Hey, they need to be fans of all motorsports. Forget being fans of NASCAR and Outlaws. Forget that crap.
Yeah, you could not be
You're
more
a racing fan.
Damon, you could not be more correct. And I'm very I'm just amped that you said it like that and said what you said, because I wanted to talk to you about Travis Pastrana's Nitro Rallycross win in Minneapolis this weekend.
Well, it's all because he got behind a Top Fuel dragster earlier in the week. So he had his double dose of nitro going into Nitro Rallycross. So I
like the connect. That is, I don't think he ever did like a full pass, but he did like half of one.
Yep.
That's sick in its own right.
He did half pass to 330. He was, and I think they ended up going 660 as well. So he was trying to, he did say he wants to go back and eventually get a full pull and get his license at some point. And I would absolutely love to see that.
No kidding. I mean, it's especially like with the thing that he does and just, never staying in one place for too long, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, that's okay with me. That's a guy who's a race fan. See, folks, follow in the footsteps of Travis Pastrana. He's been in literally everything.
Yeah, absolutely. One other thing about that too, Nitro Rallycross, can we please freaking post results and standings and stuff? Like,
they don't have it.
They don't have standings. It's Monday. What are you doing?
They don't have it.
Travis, what are we doing here?
They don't have results.
We got to get Travis on the podcast.
Yeah, that'd be great. Got a lot of questions to ask him about Scott Palmer right now.
So, okay, first off, tell me who Scott Palmer is.
Scott Palmer is the guy, is the team owner of the car that he tested out at Charlotte.
Oh, okay. Was he talking to the driver in that video or no?
The driver, that's Alex Laughlin.
Okay, so that's why
he was the one.
Okay,
yeah, Laughlin was the guy that got Pastrana, and Laughlin was doing all the coaching. Alex Laughlin drives Scott Palmer's car at a few other races. So, like this last weekend, the same car that you saw Travis Pastrana drive was the car that Scott Palmer raced in St. Louis this weekend.
Gotcha. Okay. I like that they put his name logo on it.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Nice.
That whole video of that, guys, if you go on Twitter, and I think it's posted by Travis Pastrana.
Yep.
But it's got to be the most encapsulating, like, just guy test race car video.
Between him and Tony Stewart, when Tony Stewart got his Top Fuel license, yeah.
Yeah, that was a sweet video. And Tony's in the video. Tony was there at the test.
Yep. Tony actually helped him go through the procedures and stuff.
Yeah, that is super cool. Antron took a tough hit in the standings this weekend.
Yes, he did. Old boy Clay, man, I tell you what, that was a great race on Sunday.
Are we sure that he's not putting little lead weights wrapped up in fish fillets in his dragster?
Doubtful.
Okay. I just didn't know if I could catch someone from cheating.
No. See, you're not going to catch Clay from cheating. You can blame Antron's safety system for failing him, because that's what turned off the car was the safety system switch, turned the whole car off, and that's why he couldn't catch up after Clay had gone up in smoke and then was able to drive around him in a pedal fest. It was fantastic. Did you watch the video of that?
I didn't.
Oh, you'll have to see if you can find it. It was fantastic.
I'll look it up after this.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Ron Capps got the finals. Unfortunately, lost to Robert Hight by like 3 1,000ths of a second.
Yes, he did. It was Funny Car was a really good race, like all weekend long, because there were side by sides the entire time that we were there. But yeah, that final was really good. I obviously had to go against Ron because he's racing Robert Hight, and I'm
no, that's not obvious. No.
Yeah, I do.
Robert Hight's never taken the time to talk to you about doing a shoey.
I haven't had the chance to talk to Robert Hight, so don't blame him. Blame me.
Crazy. No, that's on Robert. Ron comes on the podcast, man.
Well, I'll change that. I'll change that then.
I'll talk to Antron, see if he can hook you up with Robert.
I got hooked up with Robert. I know their PR person pretty well.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
we'll do it sometime. You had a sellout crowd for the NHRA in St. Louis. Another Midwest race sold out. What the hell do we got to do to get people to pay attention here, folks?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, that's why they're bringing the racetrack at Chicagoland back for the NHRA next year. Route 66 Raceway is coming back.
We'll have to try to go to that.
I already plan to go to it, but it's just exciting to see. Yesterday's crowd, Sunday's crowd doesn't necessarily like look great, but boy, it certainly felt awesome, especially when Brittany laid down the monster lap. Brittany Force laid down the monster lap.
You saw the fastest pass in NHRA history.
Correct. 338.43 miles per hour.
Why isn't that bigger headlines?
Yeah, because it happens often. I think it doesn't happen as often as you would think it does. But
it's kind of hard for it to happen very often.
I agree.
Seriously, right? Like
it is. But the temperatures yesterday were so perfect, man. We're driving in and Dad and I are sitting there as we're driving in, and Mom too, for that matter. We're like, man, the air is perfect. There's no humidity. The track temperature was well under 100 at the start of the day. just a fantastic facility for going fast. Everything lined up for going fast. And yeah, Brittany Force laid down 338.43 miles per hour to be the new national speed record. And I think that's the second time I've ever seen that in my life.
I love how you've seen it twice.
I have Topeka a couple of years ago. It was like really cool. It was an evening session.
Let's not give too much credit to Kansas.
I know, but hey,
but another Midwest track.
Exactly, another Midwest track. St. Louis went fast though. Top Fuel was cool. Good buddy Steve Torrance was able to win that one. He been struggling this year, and he was able to put together a good race. That got him back in the points chase. So Antron's got some catching up to do there. Because he's going to have Torrance knocking on the door right now.
All right.
Then I got to mention Erica Enders too. She won her fourth straight race at St. Louis, and the 8th of the season. It's been just absolutely dominating in pro stock. I also got a new Erica t-shirt that I'll have to show you sometime. That is fantastic. It's also not PG-13 rated.
What's it say on it?
I'll show it to you.
You text it to me.
I'll show it to you.
You don't have to text it to me now. Just whenever.
No, I'll just show it. I'll show it so the people that are listening have to actually get on YouTube if they want to see it.
Ooh, a YouTube exclusive. We've done podcast exclusive news breaks. I don't think we've done a YouTube exclusive. Hey, look at this. Why Damon's gone. I'll kind of start talking about the next thing, but the World of Outlaws this weekend had rain. Damon's showing the shirt. That was far less offensive than I thought it would be.
Yeah, no, I just, I wanted to keep the show as off the explicit list this week.
That's fair. I think it was on. I think it was on one of those videos.
But it was that is what they do anytime Erica wins. She drives the car back to the pit. They don't do that anymore in pro stock. Everything gets towed. So they go the old school route and they drive it back after she wins. So that's where that saying came from.
I love it. World of Outlaws. Hear about Friday? They ran 10 laps of the race. Eventually got rained out. We'll talk about Brent Marks' wreck in a second. Did you think that was enough of a race official?
No. Personally, no. I mean, I get it. They got the right to call it whenever they want and do all those things, but no, I didn't. 10 laps is not indicative of a race. That doesn't tell you, that's like saying NHRA is going to pick a winner because they ran the first round. That's like saying, that's like saying NASCAR is going to run the first 10 laps of their race because something, chaotic. We don't know. It just, to me, running it didn't, or counting that as a race didn't seem like a reasonable thing, I guess, if that makes sense.
All right. Well, I'll challenge you on that and allow me to be hypocritical.
Okay.
I just I wanted your support in that.
Well, you're not going to get it, but okay. Okay.
So regular season, normal World of Outlaws race. I understand that was one. Don't care. Is Friday night at like Revolution Park I think that's in Louisiana. It might be in Texas. I think it's Louisiana. Wherever that track is. Yeah, it'd be egregious to call it official at 10 laps. Knoxville, Brownell's Big Guns Bash, egregious to call it 10 laps. Any race that is just a standalone one-night event, it is ridiculous to call race official after 10 of 25 laps. I agree. This was the National Open preliminary night. And I think I've said it time and time again on this show about multi-day events and what formats should look like. you can do whatever the Sam's Hell monkey crap you want to do with, I hope that did not come off offensive. I was just throwing words out there. Whatever you want to do with your format, so long as the first day or the first 2 days or the first 3 days have an impact on Saturday, one that takes away qualifying for the day. And maybe preferably one that's not determined by a stupid little spinny wheel on a little couple of wooden pegs. That's just me. That race had no impact on the National Open. They're running the National Open Saturday, October 22nd, new date. They just postponed it to then. They didn't want to run it Sunday. I think it's something with attendance in Pennsylvania. There's a lot of Facebook commenters talking about high school football. If you're going to high school football over World of Outlaws race, stupid, for one. Number two, if you're a high school football player, I would be feeling sorry for you that you couldn't miss or you couldn't make that race. But with a race that doesn't impact the next day and a 2-day event, and every guy in the A main is there to race that 2-day event, I don't have any malice in moving it. You know, David Gravel's 94 points out of Brad Sweet's points lead, so that gets kind of dicey. But that's almost too many points to come back from. It's possible, certainly, but likely, absolutely not. So I had no qualms with them calling it.
So you were okay with them running only 10 laps and giving the win away to somebody?
Just looking at who was running that race, where people were at, and what the circumstances of it were, yeah.
No, that's...
Lance Deweese is the best damn Williams Grove driver that we'll see in our lifetimes, unless you want to say Donnie Schatz, and I'd hop on that chariot just to tick off the Pennsylvanians.
I just don't know. Obviously, the Pennsylvanians are going to love it because one of their drivers won. But how do you count it as a completed race when you just don't know what is in store? This is a bigger asterisk than any rain shortened race ever because you only ran 10 laps.
I do agree with that take.
I mean, like nobody knew what they had. Nobody knew what their stuff had 10 laps into a race. You listen to most people and they talk about how they're feeling the car out early for about, especially in a 25 lap feature, they feel what their car's got for the first 15 so they know what moves they have to make. Yeah.
So unfortunately,
I don't like it.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm not too passionate in my takes. I don't want to declare a winner in this debate, but I think it's obviously right.
Yeah, and you're obviously wrong.
I just like joking with you, dude.
You just want to get more hashtags on Twitter is what you're wanting.
Because that's gone really well for me, because I think the people that have tweeted on our debates on the scores is 1 to Team Damon and 1 to you guys argue like an old married couple.
Well, then there's at least 2 for Team Damon and 1 for the other.
Okay. Well, it can be 0 to 2 to 1.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I don't know what you're thinking, that I'm going to Twitter for my support. They don't got my back.
You're just trying to get more support on Twitter is what you're trying to do. You're trying to get the posse fans on your side. And I see what's happening here.
I don't know if I've ever looked at it that way, but I like it.
See, this is what you're trying to do.
We'll get to it in the video game review, but maybe I am posse now.
You probably are.
They got the Nittany Showdown this weekend at Port Royal, my favorite Pennsylvania racetrack. Here I am, appealing, pandering almost. Excited to see that. It's going to be fun. I'll have a primer up for that too, because season's coming down to it, and I love these late year events. That football season kind of takes the momentum for a couple of weeks. Maybe I wouldn't suggest an off week or anything like that. Wouldn't mind one either. You ready to talk NASCAR?
Yep.
How about that number 9, baby?
Boy, for not being a Chase Elliott fan, you really sound like a Chase Elliott fan.
Oh man, I'm just amazed at that guy's move. Have you seen that guy drive?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That was sweet. And no casual fans ever gonna freaking understand it because they think these cars are easy to drive. But my goodness, that move to get clear of Eric Jones and to let him latch on the bumper and push all the way up and win it by inches, that was crazy. No one wrecked. That was awesome.
Yeah. That's how super speedway racing is supposed to be done,
Yeah,
though.
and freaking people yell out my ear every time we don't have the picture perfect super speedway race that probably was. And you
Yeah.
know what? You know what? Honestly, that race from a fan standpoint for the first 100 laps wasn't that exciting, because the exciting part that I was sitting there intrigued by was, oh, they haven't wrecked yet. Oh, it's coming.
Right.
Here it goes. Here it goes. It's starting to happen. And then
Right.
someone would save it. And now we got helped out by Kyle Larson saving his race car not once, but twice. Talk about that. That was sweet. I tried to rile up the Larson fans after Elliott beat him in stage 2.
Yeah. See,
I got
that's a great driver, is what that is.
Yeah, he's fantastic, dude.
Best driver on the planet.
That was, I mean, you could look at that race and kind of go, oh, it's kind of boring. Yeah, but you were sitting there waiting for something to happen, and it's an art. That's what I love about it. It's so strategical that it can look like it's not strategical at times because the people who sneak in to win it. That just means they had a good setup on the car. It was able to get a lot of speed. They had an engine that was sufficient with the top teams in the series. And, oh, would you look at that, 10 people in front of them wrecked, and that's usually how they got up there.
So this race is like prime mid 2000s when these cars would go to Talladega. You go back and watch some of those races that Dale Jr. used to win, or even go back to some of the races that Dale Sr. won at Talladega, and the big wrecks were few and far between. I mean, there were not many at that time where there was, big, massive crashes. And if there was, it was towards the end of the race anyway, where everybody kind of expects it to go all kind of crazy and haywire. And it wasn't. And that's the kind of super speedway racing that I enjoy seeing, is these strategical plays that are also, drivers putting their cars in bad situations. That's what I like to see, is drivers putting their cars in bad situations and it paying off, because that's being risky, and that's taking a chance. And, for them to do that is fantastic to see. It was just such a good race, in my opinion, as far as that goes.
Yeah, and I've said it before. I know guys like Jeff Gluck were worried that the next gen car was going to ruin the super speedway package we had, but I thought that was a good super speedway race. Do you think, leads me into my next question, do you think that the third line had that much trouble getting there? Do you think it was, we have the right amount of people, especially the people, it changes, right, from when you're a playoff driver and when you're not, in this specific race, of how many people want to form a third line?
So what we have seen towards the end of the car, the last couple of years of the old car, and then this year in the 4 super speedway races, 6 if you count the 2 Atlanta races now, but
we're largely 2x2.
Yeah. And so when you see those, when you look back at those races, the car, I think, doesn't have the ability to make a third lane. I don't feel you're able, because even at times that second lane is tough to catch and keep going with. They have problems at times. Obviously outside of the restarts, when things start fanning out a little bit, it really becomes a one lane dominant type track, and you try to see people create a second lane and it doesn't get enough energy built up, and then when they do have 2 lanes, you see a third lane try to form and there's just not enough energy built up. And so I think a lot of it is the horsepower being taken away from some of these cars, is taking that third lane away. So whereas you go back to those 2000s races, those early 2000s, where we were seeing 3 wide, 6 deep about 80% of the year.
Don't remind me.
We're
Don't
not
remind me about
seeing that.
that. Don't remind me about the Pepsi throwback. Aaron's $4.99 for Jeff.
We're just not seeing those type of races anymore because they don't have the horsepower to do it. They've cut them
Tried at
out.
a racetrack one time, and Damon's bringing back the memories.
Well,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I steamrolled your thing there. Keep going.
it just you have those type of events where you take away horsepower, and that's kind of what took away the pack racing. Really is when they took the horsepower away and kind of shifted how they were going about building these cars and building these engines. So
I wonder if this new next gen car, whatever they decide to alter about it, I wonder if that will change this.
no, because it's all under the hood, in my opinion.
They've talked about the diffuser and altering that. I wonder if this is on their list of things like, hey, we want to make this look more like this, or I would say like that wasn't a horrible race. So I don't know. I'd like to see a third lane able to form, but also is it
they have to have horsepower. They have to have a gain of horsepower to do it. That's the thing. They don't have the car itself, the shape of the car does not really determine the fact of a third lane.
But is that what's taking away horsepower because of how easy it is to take away
because
from the lane next to you?
No, they've cut like 200 horsepower out of what we used to have in the 2000s. And so we're completely down on power. And so when you don't have power, then it just makes it even harder. Okay. And I would say the downforce now is because the teams are playing aero and playing downforce and stuff nowadays. It makes it that much tougher when you don't have horsepower to get around a guy.
Okay.
Because you look back at a few of those races back in the day, and there's drivers going 3/4 throttle around the track in packs. Like they're seventh in line, and they're going 3/4 throttle because the lead car is pulling them along. Whereas now you're seeing a lot more throttle input, a lot more in and out of throttle, and that's what's causing these runs to really not form.
Yeah, and I think hopefully they give them some more horsepower just at those tracks to get that, specifically at Atlanta. I thought that was the big, I'll call it a negative of the Atlanta experiment and what they're doing there. Just if you want to have a track race like a super speedway, man, make it race like one,
Right.
Get everything that a super speedway has. And that is one thing you probably need. And seeing that race, it's like, please don't do the same thing to Texas, because man.
Yeah, I don't think that they will do the same thing to Texas. The way that the conversation has gone, if they don't do any, or if they do something to Texas, I don't think that they'll do another super speedway type thing, because the drivers don't want it. They've already said that they don't want that. But
what do you think of your boy Ross Chastain talking down on Denny Hamlin's takes of speaks to the drivers?
It is not often that I side with Denny Hamlin, but Jesus Christ, this is ridiculous. It's only, and here's this, take it for what it's worth. Take my opinion on this for what it's worth. But the three people that have said that the car is fine, it's not any problem with safety, have been Ross Chastain, Daniel Suarez, and Justin Marks. And what do those three people all have in common?
This is the first time they've had success constantly in any series.
Exactly. That is exactly it. They are not complaining.
Cough to Larson Marks Racing.
They are not complaining one bit, because this is a car that has saved all three of their careers.
No, and hold on,
hang on. Justin Marks is now making a living because of this new car. Go ahead.
Right, and before we, Damon, this is something I want you to work on, because I got to work on it too. I don't want this hole that's being dug with words, but this is exactly what you would expect them to say for that reason. Mm-hmm. In relation to if you're leading the Daytona 500 and say Juan Pablo Montoya takes out a gas truck, and causes a big fire on the track. You're going to drive around the racetrack and say, man, it's really hard to drive over that patch you just made.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think there's a reason why they're saying that. I thought Chastain's comments specifically and the way he went about them was just stupid.
Asinine.
I mean, yeah, and same with Jeff Burton. Dude, let these guys talk, man. You're trying to muzzle your guys. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to say, oh, well, there's a way to complain about things, and it's not to everybody else. Well, God damn it. Honestly, God damn it. The whole fucking test sessions, you had Ryan Newman retire because he didn't think the car was safe. He has a fucking engineering degree from Purdue, right? Like, listen, my God, dude, he didn't complain ever about that publicly. That came out after. Like, that's you need this because otherwise they're not going to get the change. So for Chastain to hop along on Jeff Burton's diggity dog or whatever, like, to say that this isn't the way to go about it, just shut up, man. Like,
so here is why Jeff Burton is pissed, because Jeff Burton is the voice of the Drivers' Council, and that is why he is not happy, because he's not the one that is getting to tell NASCAR about all these things. It is the drivers that are complaining about it and not going to Jeff first instead. And that's basically, in the way I read it, around the line, in between the lines, however you want to phrase it, it seems to me that Jeff is upset that the drivers didn't go to him. And so Jeff is going to basically use it as a petty stage, in my opinion, because you had Brendan Gaughan come on. I love Brendan Gaughan. You had him go on Sirius XM and basically say that these cars are safe. These cars are great to drive, but had admitted he has not been in one of these cars. Jeff Burton also has not been and crashed one of these cars. And so now you've got all this going down. I just, Chastain's comments were bad. That was terrible. You know, that I don't care how many races you've won. I don't care what your team is doing. However, it's been, that is not anywhere close. When you have two drivers out because of head injuries and a third driver on crutches after a fracture, two out of the same event.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So going into the Roval, and I said this before the playoffs started, but Chase has got to be the playoff favorite. Now he is. Least favorite to be the first to clinch Homestead.
They still have one more race, though.
Yeah, they got a whole round.
Right. They got a whole other round. I mean, the three tracks that are up in the next round, I don't know. I necessarily think.
I just think Chase has too big of a points cushion.
As far as points go, for sure. As
long as you're racing for stage points, and we've seen crew chiefs botch that, but I mean, you're fine.
I would say as far as points go, yes. As far as wins go, the next few races after the Roval aren't necessarily his cup of tea by any means.
You're absolutely right. I'm just saying he's going to the Roval with no pressure whatsoever to win. And we've seen him go into the Roval with the pressure of you have to win this race or you're not advancing in the playoffs, and he won the championship and won that race. So I'm going to put my money on Chase this weekend. This is his racetrack. He owns it basically. And we'll see how many playoff points he comes out of there with. There's seven available, 7 bonus points. So
yeah, it'll be curious to see if he gains in points. Obviously, AJ Allmendinger will be in the field, and he's really good at this racetrack. Larson's a good road racer. Tyler Reddick is a good road racer. So you've got other guys that'll try to spoil the party and try to take away points from Chase in that sense.
Speaking of Allmendinger,
yeah,
time in the Cup Series, it's about time. He's one of my favorites. I love it.
I'm glad it's a redemption tour for him coming up. You know, it's a guy that he went through a whole hell of a lot a few years back and was in the ride to be in. I mean, at the time, it didn't look like it because Penske was on the downhill. But boy, if he would have stayed out of trouble and stayed in that race car, we could, honest to God, be talking about AJ Allmendinger being a Cup Series champion.
I still think we can next year. Is that crazy to say?
Yeah.
There's 6 damn road courses on the schedule, Damon.
I get that, but it's also colleague racing that has not shown a whole hell of a lot of speed at other tracks.
They won at a road course with AJ Allmendinger.
Outside of road course, you got to let me finish, son.
Freaking Damon just sunned me.
Yeah, I did.
Zach's going to be furious with you.
That's fine.
No, I don't think Colley's that far away. I just look at Ty Gibbs' results in 23-11.
They haven't been stellar here as of late.
Just like Gregson running the Cup Series races he's run. And I know most of those were in the 62. But
no, actually, most of them were in the 16.
They were in the 16. Yeah, same.
He only ran 2 races in the 62.
It's just you have in the Xfinity Series about 9 heavy hitters if you include Landon Castle as a biased person that I am. In the Cup Series, you got 25.
Right.
You got 25 guys that would hop in a junior motorsports car and compete for a title there.
Oh, they wouldn't just compete; they'd win.
I don't think it's that cut and dry, but yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot. Yeah. Look at what John Hunter Nemechek did from going from Cup to the trucks that first year back.
I think trucks the same way, just a couple less heavy hitters and a lot more dumb.
Yeah, but it just in my eyes, I think as far as Kaulig goes, if you're Justin Haley, you're pretty concerned for next year. I know Haley is their guy. He's their guy they're trying to build the company around and everything. But he's been outran most times by the 16 car this year when Gregson and or Allmendinger have been in it. Not necessarily the same could be said when Hemrick's driven the car. But when Allmendinger's in it and when Gregson's been in it, they've consistently outran Justin Haley in that 31 car. So I would be a little bit concerned. I will say that they are closer than I probably let on to begin with. But really, to be quite honest with you, I don't think that he's ready to win a championship just the way things are set up, I guess.
That's fair. I can't wait until we do like a preseason prediction thing because it's going to be fun. That gives the Cup Series a little more flair, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, I think a lot of it, though, has to do with the fact that there's 7, 8 road courses, whatever it's going to be on the schedule, 6, 7, 8, whatever it is.
6.
6. Okay. Still too many. But whatever it ends up being, that's going to be, I think that's part of the reason that Kaulig did this is because they know that with 6 road course races on the schedule, they have a legitimate chance to win a championship because all you have to do really is win 1 or 2 races, get into the playoffs, and there's a road course right there. And now you're looking close to get yourself into a championship situation because of just having AJ Allmendinger.
He's also just the best driver you have on your roster.
Oh, by far.
Flat out. I don't think the road course thing. Obviously, that's a major pro in this situation, right?
I think it's bigger than you think it is, honestly.
No, I think it would be if they had another prospect, like Justin Haley, but with better Cup results. I think it would come down to a debate, but I think his road course thing made it not a debate. But he's also the best on that roster. There's no one, maybe Landon Castle, close second.
No.
I'm kidding. But there's no one better on Kaulig's list of guys to get.
Yeah, I mean, they could have gone outside the company. I think you've got obviously Justin Allgaier and I would say even Josh Berry outside the company itself. to go and get some dudes that way. But as far as within the doors of Kaulig, yeah, I mean the choice was obvious. But if that was the case, why didn't they do it already when they moved Haley up?
Yeah, and that's fair. We'll see what occurs. I think he makes the Elite Eight.
Yeah, if he does, he's got a hell of a chance. That's for damn sure.
My bold prediction.
I like it.
Let's talk playoff standings for this year. Real quick, did you see that Dale Jr. thing? That video of him saying of his tweet that said Bush to the 8.
Yeah, on his podcast.
He didn't even realize that was like accurate.
Yeah. I listened to the show a couple weeks ago and he was talking about that. He's like, yeah, they I posted that tweet and it wasn't even like 2 minutes later and Kyle calls him and said, he's like, dude, it's not supposed to be announced. He's like, wait, you mean I'm right? And that's so that they ended up coming up with the Bush to the basketball was the other one that they did. And so trying to throw people off a little bit.
Yeah, it was awesome. So Ryan Blaney comes in to this weekend. Chase Elliott's the only one who's clinched in the second round. Blaney is plus 32. Figure he's pretty safe, especially if he races for stage points in any way. Ross Chastain plus 28, same type of story there. Denny Hamlin's plus 21. Joey Logano and Kyle Larson are both plus 18. So they're looking pretty safe. Daniel Suarez plus 12. Chase Briscoe and Austin Cindric are tied. So they are the cutoff.
Yes.
That will be interesting to see this Saturday. William Byron is minus 11 and in the middle of his appeal to his penalty, which he should have been seen by NASCAR. I think NASCAR got a real rough couple weeks of PR there between the car and that. So I'm not going to pile on him more aside from what I just said. But Christopher Bell, minus 33, needs a win, and Alex Bowman obviously needs a win as long as he's out of concussion protocol, which is probably harder to pass than the NFL's.
Well, obviously, that's pretty apparent.
That sucks a lot, man. He needs to win this race. I don't know. I haven't looked up how he's done at the Roval in years past, but I don't think it's.
He won a stage there last year, I think.
And yeah, it's fine. That's stages or stages. That just wouldn't help him. 54, you got to win the race.
Oh yeah, he's got to win the race.
So we'll see. I really do think the playoff field is going to be set. I think if a winner comes from Cindric, Byron, Bell, or Bowman, or Briscoe, then Suarez will be out. That's my hot take, but I don't think those guys will win the race. Chase Briscoe, good road racer. Christopher Bell, pretty decent road racer. Obviously, Cindric is not bad either.
I would say Cindric has probably the best bet out of all three of those dudes.
He hasn't shown me a lot at road courses this year in the Cup Series.
The guy is a road racer, though.
I understand where he's come from. He just hasn't shown me enough this year to where I'm moving him ahead in my rankings there. Should I do like a road course power rankings and just focus on who's the best road racer?
Now I got to look at this because.
Yeah, and I haven't done extensive. I'm just going off my in the back of my head about who's been good.
I gotta look at this because I'm pretty sure he had a better run than you think.
He did in the Xfinity Series.
Watkins Glen, he was 13th.
Okay.
Indianapolis Road Course, he was 2nd. Road America, he was 7th. Sonoma, he was 5th.
He did have a better run than I thought.
Coda, he was 8th.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure he's finished in the top 10 in all but one.
Well, I apologize. That is completely on me, and my power rankings will be adjusted.
And to make matters worse for you, I hate to rub it in, but he started in each of those races 8th, 2nd, 5th, 25th, and 10th.
25th's well outside the top 10. Just want to
Correct. Got that completely.
Swung the door back at me. No, I genuinely forgot it because it feels like he hasn't made an impact, but obviously, like 4 top 10s out of 5, it's not bad at all. And obviously, shoot, podium too.
Yeah,
Can we take damn podium pictures after the races so I remember this shit?
That's up to you.
That's not up to me. I can't get the drivers to go take a picture together.
Why can't you?
How am I supposed to do that, Damon?
Call them. Be like, look, I need you to take a picture together.
You're being ridiculous.
Even if it's a selfie, just do it.
All right, can we get to the World of Outlaws game review?
All right.
We're wrapping up the show. Trust me, this is gonna be a good one. What do you think?
I had the same feeling as I did when I turned on the drag racing game for the first time. It felt good to have a game that had been missing for quite some time. I turned on the drag racing game for the very first time and was extremely excited because I got to see people like John Force and Clay and all these drivers that I grew up watching and grew up playing with in the old games on there. And so to turn on the Outlaws game and getting to play with the drivers that, we used to play with on some of the older games was pretty darn cool. It was really cool. Those things are hard to drive, which is nice. And the other thing that stood out to me was the cool fact that the multiple lines that are being ran by the computer cars.
Yeah.
Normally in a dirt racing game or any racing game for that matter, the lines are generally the same. It's either really high around the top or really low around the bottom. And this cars change lanes. They are able to run the middle and get momentum. Just a lot of cool things on that front. So I'm very, very happy with that. So I guess as far as, comparison, it reminded me a whole lot of when the drag racing game came out here earlier this year. And I'm glad we got both of them.
And we talked about, and every game is going to have its faults. So what I'll say later on in this review, I guess, you'll hear it. Trust me, it's fine. First off, I was blown away with the amount of real world drivers in it. It's awesome. Our buddy Ayrton's in the damn video game. Our guy Ryan Timms is in the video game. Bobby Pierce is in the video game. Jimmy Owens, Brandon Overton. It's awesome. It's awesome. Like that, just being able to see those guys, see their faces and what they do is fantastic. Now they order it by last name. I wish they would order it by World of Outlaws wins. That's a me thing. That's like, hey, show people. See,
I wish they would do it.
Some of these guys are like guys that like just race in their backyards.
Oh yeah.
So I just, like tell the difference between Bobby Pierce and this guy with an iRacing rap that wrecks me all the time.
I wish they'd actually do it by car number, to be honest with you. That's how I liked it.
I don't know how much I would like that. We're getting into real deep semantics there.
I was gonna say, you brought this whole upon yourself.
Yeah. Shoot, they got 13 real tracks. And the thing I'll say before we get into any more conversation is if you're at all complaining about this game, you're a goddamn idiot. An idiot times 17. Whatever phrase that I could come up with right now that I don't want to think about, you got to stop playing tummy sticks with your damn internet keyboard, okay? It's stupid. You cannot complain about this game. There are 13 or 14 and more to come real life World of Outlaws racetracks. There's some that are real tracks that are newish that haven't hosted like big events or anything, like Millard Creek or whatever. I've never even heard of it. It's in Iowa and it's a real racetrack. You've probably raced there once or twice, Damon. It kind of races like Martinsville.
Is it the little bull ring?
It's the really small one that it says Iowa, but like that's where I think Vado Speedway Park is in it. I'm pretty sure that's the track. Uh,
Hmm.
a different one. That's the New Mexico, Arizona type thing. Um, that one's in New Mexico. I think that's one of the fantasy tracks, and I'm trying to track down other ones. But there's a lot of real tracks in this game. I understand you can complain if you're a Houston's loyalist. Houston's not in the game. I'm sorry, I hate it too. I would like Houston's in the game, but I'm not complaining. You cannot
Right.
complain. First game in 12 years, they could have done the bare minimum, and they very clearly did.
Right.
Very clearly did.
It was the same thing that could be said when the drag racing game came out. Didn't have St. Louis on the game. Didn't have Topeka on the game, and people complained about some of the stuff that was on it. It was like, why would you complain about something when it was the first game that has come out 15, 20 years now?
Yeah,
That's the thing. And so why would you complain about it when it's only going to make things better? And it's been a fun play so far.
yeah. You got to just be grateful. And do that. And when they, have talks about a new game, then bring up all your grievances. Then say this is what I understand. You want the track to change from qualifying to the A main. I don't think they had that amount of detail, resources, or time to put in.
Right.
If you're saying, well, delay the game a year, okay. Well, the only reason we're talking about the World of Outlaws game is because it freaking came out. So you have to put something out there to get the response. I love it. I love how much customization there's available.
Mm-hmm.
Everything about that. Career mode is super cool. And I'll start getting into my grievances here. Not grievance. We'll talk about it. Damon, you understand I'm a super competitive person, right?
Correct.
I kind of envision myself, as long as I have enough laps or confidence, or I'm playing a NASCAR game, that I've played every NASCAR game that's been released ever, that I feel like I'm pretty decent at video game racing.
Okay.
So I want to challenge myself and put the difficulties on the hardest damn level available.
Mm-hmm.
So I was reading a thing on Facebook today that if you put on advanced difficulty, which is the difficulty setting of the AI, it goes from 100 to 105. And advanced is meant for people that are toying with setups and stuff. And I'm not a race savvy person. I was getting into some of it and making my car a little faster, but then I would do a couple of things to make it slower. I wouldn't remember how to get back to how I had it faster because I was moving things by decimal points and I was getting back. It was too hard. It was the best I could do with every upgrade was I won a 305 race against the hardest difficulty. Once I got to 360, like the best I did was 10th. So expert is what everyone's playing at, is what it seems like. But that's like their actual hard mode, and then it can get a little harder if you think that's too easy.
Mm-hmm.
So that threw me off for a bit because the career mode, I was like, this is kind of shitty because I have to have every upgrade to be even competitive, and it's very hard. But I also, when I play a game that's too easy, I'm like, well, I want this harder.
Right.
But it's nice that there's a balance in there because you can move the AI difficulty from like 105 to 85, whatever it is on. It's like the same as NASCAR Heat.
Right.
I thought that was super cool at the same time. So basically, put it on expert. Don't put it on advanced like me. Don't be stupid. But
Fair enough.
as far as the career mode goes, like the cut-ins by the drivers, I wish they would have been a little more amped up to do them. It looked like they were like being held at gunpoint.
They probably were.
to say the words they were saying to you. But like that is a fantastic like touch in the game, right? Like you have Casey Kane appearing on your television. Donnie Schatz told me to stop wrecking people.
Well, you should. You should listen to him.
Tyler Burning tells me to clean up my act one more time. I swear to God. Because I was racing a car that was slower on speed and depended on wrecking people to improve my results when I got in the late model. But No, like I love the career mode. I love basically everything about it. I love that I have friends in the game. Like that's just I don't think I've had that in my life. Like that's just cool to see. Cool to see.
Sure. Yeah, that was the cool part. I haven't done anything in the career mode yet. I just got the game on Thursday night. I've been all sorts of busy last week, so I just got to play the game Thursday a little bit and then a little bit on Friday morning, but after that I've not had a whole lot of time to really get into the career mode stuff, and I want to have a little bit of time where I'm not just starting it, stopping it all the time. So but as far as what I've played so far, it's really I really enjoy it. The tracks and everything. A lot of the details on it. I'm a big fan of the details on things like that, and I kind of geek out on, you know, looking at the cars and going through and looking at the tracks, and it's pretty damn cool to see the detail in the track, straight down to the signs around the facilities.
Now I would like somewhat of a free roam type of thing during hot laps because they had it in 2007 and 2002, or I think the other one was '08 or '09. But either way, I like driving around the pits and looking at the details they put
Yeah,
in
yeah,
because they're there. I mean, you build them. Let me drive around the pits. Just don't put anyone there that I can run over or any invisible fences I can run into.
right. Yeah,
I would love that. The other thing is Williams Grove, it looks and appears too skinny. Port Royal appears too skinny. And Knoxville is far too short. Did you know I set the world record track speed at Knoxville? Did you know that?
no, I did not.
I took a 360 sprint car, had a 12-second lap.
Nice. You're hauling.
You know, longer the track distance. I don't know what the scan on iRacing was, or if it races like that on iRacing, or if lap times are. I'm not an iRacer. I did it drunk once, and I spun out 17 times in IndyCar at Long Beach.
Jesus.
Well, we did Bristol Dirt with the Cup car first, and that didn't go very well. But I wasn't very sober, and it wasn't. You know, I'm not saying it's easy to drive a race car. I'm actually specifically saying it's very hard, and that's what iRacing is for.
Right.
And I'm not complaining that Knoxville is in the game, but make the track longer. You know,
I actually the one thing that I wish that they had at Knoxville was the inside berm. I can run
the berm isn't the berm.
No, like I can run on the bottom of the track and get my tires basically to the fence, which is I'm not upset about it. It gives me a whole other lane that everybody else isn't taking, but I was like, man, I kind of do wish that they had the inside berm a little bit, but overall, I mean, I think the detail in this game is probably better than any racing game that I've played yet to this point, as far as detail goes.
Yeah, it outdoes every game that's been made about it, and I love that aspect with it. I've also noticed going through, especially playing on advanced, that some AI drivers, whether real or not, and I don't think they programmed specific people to be aggressive, but if you do enough stuff to the same guy, they'll keep hitting you just to piss you off.
That's awesome.
That's
I haven't had that yet because I'm a clean driver, unlike you.
That's why I hate Robbie Gordon. Well, okay, I was playing on a mode where you need a setup to run better, and I don't have any setups that are going to be dialed in.
You should call Ayrton. He would have them.
I've been texting him for tips, and
I don't blame him.
Not very good.
I don't blame him.
I asked him to come on. So Ayrton's in the game. I haven't gotten how he got in it or why, because I know some people were pissed off they weren't in it, or some of their favorite drivers were.
Yeah, man. I'm pissed. I'm missing two big names out of there.
Kyle Larson and Jonathan Davenport on.
Yes.
The crazy part is you can really easily recreate Kyle Larson's car for the one win Paul Silva has on I wanted the most boring car possible because I don't believe in promotion or anything like that. When your driver is single-handedly promoting the sport of dirt racing to fans every day, And your reason for the car being white and plain and boring is because you don't believe in the new age of marketing, which, okay, fine, you don't have a business degree. You've proved it. But you're friends with Kyle Larson, so that's fantastic. You're very obviously good at your job. But my God, man, like that goes a long way.
Let me ask you this though: does he have to?
He doesn't because he has Larson driving for him.
Exactly.
The Paul Silva 57 has been around for a long damn time.
Yep.
I can tell you what, more fans of the Paul Silva 57 today didn't hear the Paul Silva 57 before Kyle Larson was in it than the ones that had heard of it. I guarantee that.
I want you to, I'm going to challenge you to some homework though, because the Paul Silva 57 hasn't always been white and hasn't always been that.
Oh, I understand. I completely get that.
I want you to look at the Shane Stewart days of it.
I've seen it, yeah, because he won 360 Nationals like 4 years in a row.
Just making sure.
No, and it's never won.
I just don't want you to get put on blast on Twitter.
No, and I'm not. I just think his take on that day, whatever day that was, like a year and a half ago, of hey, this car is plain white for a reason because we don't care about paint schemes and stuff. We don't care about announcements. We want to go race. It's like, okay, yeah, but if you got a guy putting your name on the side of the car, it'd probably be nice to have a little press conference announcement type deal, or maybe a little extra publicity for him. That's just me. In this case, it's pretty damn easy to recreate Kyle Larson's car.
It is.
Because it's white. There's a logo there with black text. And it doesn't say whatever his sponsor is. I forgot because it's just a plain white car, and that's how I view it in my head. I don't even know who sponsors Kyle Larson, but I can recreate his paint scheme in 5 minutes.
Oh, my God. You chose a bad battle, pal.
No, seriously. Like, come on.
Bad battle.
Come on.
Why would you need to paint a car?
Why is promotion bad? Why is marketing bad?
I don't care about that. It looks good.
No, that was just the fault in his argument.
It looks good.
Just say I'm a boring dude and I want a boring car. That's fine. That's completely fine. Yeah.
I'll take it because I'm a big fan of that.
I'm glad we've gotten it.
I'm fine with that too.
I'm wearing Jamie Ball's shirt. He's part of the problem in dirt racing. Every car is white, black, and red.
I don't know what you want.
As I say that, the Always Race Day logo is white, black, and red.
I was just about to say, wait a second.
I didn't design it. This has really gone off. Did you have any other impressions of the game that you wanted to talk about?
No, I hit on mine. I thought it was really good.
They are adding UMP modifieds and also big blocks. And there's people complaining that they didn't get that. It's like, okay, let's get a slower car that looks different. Dude, you just got a dirt racing game for the first time in 12 years. That doesn't suck.
Yeah.
Chris just got it like an hour before we started.
Yeah.
And he didn't like the soundtrack stayed the same.
Yeah, the soundtrack kind of sucks.
That's fine. It's a soundtrack. You know, it's whatever. Give me some Justin Bieber. I'm just kidding. Soundtracks. I don't give a shit about.
I will say it is pretty damn cool that they do give Johnny Gibson the chance to do the salute before every single race. I think that's pretty cool.
I haven't raced a World of Outlaws race on there yet.
No, it's on just when you play regular mode.
Oh, you're just
quick play.
Yeah, but I didn't. I skipped the whole thing because I was trying to get into gameplay and look at the 410 and just see if it was. And I like to learn the physics of the game going in. Like I've probably made 1,000 passes in the NHRA game on the 3 classes that aren't funny car. I've probably made 67 in funny car, and I haven't made any in top fuel because I want to learn how the game's played before I do it. And then that point, I'm too far into my career that I want to learn it when I get there. So that it's like it's like you actually have like a real result basis on.
Yeah. No, I like it because they do in the quick play. They do in both late models and in sprint cars. They do an entire entire thing with Johnny Gibson at the beginning. It's pretty damn cool.
I like that part. Oh gosh, I was trying to think of something. I think the career mode that you can start seasons and do it at different times is nice. That was the big fault of the old games, was you couldn't race two vehicles at once. And it was kind of like odd. You get what I mean? Like if you're trying to win
Yeah.
championships. I haven't won a title yet anywhere, but mainly because I was playing on advanced and trying to beat cars that were faster than me on purpose. But
Right.
that is what it is. Yeah. So, and I ran into the same problem in the Supercross game. The Supercross game, you have expert, you have hard, medium, and easy. I think is the 4 levels. And hard and expert are both very freaking difficult. And I wasted a lot of time just trying to beat guys. And it's like, I'm not a Supercross guy. I don't know how to do this. And if you go down to medium, it's way too easy. Mm-hmm. And that's where you find a fault in the game. So I love that the AI can go from 105 to 85 by single digits.
Right.
Aside from that, I just want to make sure I don't forget anything I wanted to say about it. I haven't played online yet. I heard there's a lot of people that are running into guys that just run into you, which is just going to be a thing when you play online with 26 different people.
Yeah, that's natural on online games. Yeah. Online racing games at that.
Yeah, I feel like, and obviously because they have fenders, it's late models are easier to make up speed and drive than sprint cars are, because you're going to, if you bump someone in a late model, they move. If you bump someone in a sprint car, you flip. I wasn't deterred at all either by the damage. Rio?
See, I haven't played with damage yet. I kind of just did the base.
There's not any damage.
I didn't think there was. I just, like I said, because I've only played with the base setting, and I just started with what it came up with because I just wanted to get into it and play it. So I actually haven't really messed around with any of the other stuff on it. But yeah, that kind of sucks.
It sucks to a point, but I feel like the physics are better. So when you had damage on the old games, you would wreck and your wing would be wrecked, and then you're driving with a wrecked wing. I would love to see them put you got to come down to the work area and maybe put a mini game in there. And I'm asking a lot here. This is not like a thing. I don't remember what I was going to say. I'll get to it. But I would love to see you come down the work area and have your crew fix the car. And it's like based on what crew you hired, if they can get out in time. That'd be sweet.
Yeah. There you go. Send that to Steve Myers.
He didn't respond to my tweet. I was sad. I would love to have him on and ask them how hard some of these things are to do. And what was the most taxing add-on to the game that you had. And you guys also got to understand, they can add on stuff at any time.
Right.
It's not like tomorrow they can have Husits, but if that all came together very easily in 2 months or something, like in December, Husits could end up being on the game.
Right.
So, voice your opinion. Tag Husits, tag Steve Myers, and tag World of Outlaws game and say, we want Husits on the damn video game.
Right.
And I'm sure that they will try their best. I think Husits is an iRacing track, so it's not. And also, I don't know what they did to make Knoxville so short, but it might not be true to scale, but you're not complaining about that. We haven't had a game in 12 years.
Right.
As far as World of Outlaw drivers go, stuff like that. Okay. James McFadden's not in the game yet. I wanted to ask you about this. There's been rumors that they're going to release a driver package that has Kerry Madsen in it because he drives for Roth, James McFadden, and a ton of other Aussie stars. Hopefully my boy Locky McHugh.
Mm-hmm.
But I only heard that in a Facebook comment section. I don't take it for what it's worth. It obviously could be possible. Do you think, there's World of Outlaws late model drivers on there that aren't on the tour anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think James McFadden is back at Roth next year?
Yeah, I
Okay.
would say so.
I would hope so. I think he's done fine for you, and it takes a lot to adjust to the World of Outlaws tour. I would say that it would be kind of a dumb move to dump him, but I understand that the Roth Motorsports guys want results. And
Yeah,
there's a
I
lot of
think
pressure there, and that's kind of what led to the situation that even James McFadden had to be brought into Roth Motorsports.
right.
But I don't take it positively, considering in consideration of James' future at Roth Motorsports. I don't take it as a positive note that he's not included in the game yet.
Well, I think a lot of it too, you got to remember there was, like Davenport tweeted out, he never got contacted for it. So there's
Right.
there's people that didn't get in contact for it or could have declined it. You never know.
And here's the deal: is like some of these people, and this is why I want to get Ayrton on. You guys light up Ayrton on Twitter and tell him shame on you for not coming on Connor's podcast.
Mhm.
Funny. We just get a ton of.
There you go. That'll be a way to piss him off.
It's there's that the thing I'm trying to say is like there's comments about that. There's comments, and this is all take it for what it's worth on the McFadden thing. I wanted to see if Damon had anything to say about it.
I think the other thing you got to remember, on it too is because they are putting real life cars in there and real life scans, they do have to get permission from their sponsors as well. And so if there's a sponsor that was on a holdup on it, then they're not able to do things like that.
Yeah, and there's logistics you got to go around, and there's different stuff. Some people were like, "Oh, well, this guy's in the game, well, and this one isn't." Talking about Danny Dietrich,
right?
Like, man, dude, just make Dietrich's car on your customization. Christ.
Yeah.
I think it's easier to talk to some of these drivers than it would be for others. And there's other hoops you have to jump through. And I don't know the whole legal sense and everything specifically to their contract. I know what Damon is saying. I know the information that Damon and I both have, but you don't know how difficult it is to get that in the game and get it in quickly, and how they were approached, how they were asked. My recommendation, if you want anything in this game, is to not attack, but just say it would be really cool if you did this and send a tweet or a Facebook post like that and encourage your friends to do so. And we'll try to share them if you tag us with it. The thing is, you can't get pissed off because they didn't put Kyle Larson in the video game. The game hasn't come out in 12 years. Kyle Larson races 15 to 20 World of Outlaws shows a year. It's not a necessity that Kyle Larson is in the game for you to enjoy it. Same with Jonathan Davenport, right? There was not a lot of Longhorn chassis guys in the game. I was curious to know and learn about that, I guess.
Right.
But I'm not here to drum up any conspiracies that you might take away from the words I just said, because I don't know anything. Someone's going to clip that someday. It's going to be epic.
Yeah, they're going to take that.
All right. I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you're on the fence about getting the game, it's leaps and bounds better than Tony Stewart's sprint car game or whatever he put out. It's fantastic. I was blown away by all the detail. I think we covered it well. I'll give it an 11.5 out of 10, with 12 being all the things I said. Is that fair?
It's your show. You gotta make the call.
It's my scale. I give it 3.5 Hoosier tires. Actually, that's a bad rating.
That's a bad rating.
Yeah, Hoosiers offered to sponsor my car for $75,000. I declined it.
Interesting.
Oh, I never made this. Dang, I had one joke I was going to make about Brent Marks' wreck. Just take it for a guy that hates Hoosier to wreck his car bad enough that it hops over a fence a track with no catch fence. Let's talk about Williams Grove. To wreck his car out of a racing facility and take down a Hoosier billboard.
See, he's a genius.
Not only that, he's putting forth the most effort.
He knew what was up the whole time.
All right. I'm glad. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. I appreciate y'all listening. We will be back with episode 82 later this week. I'm going to try to get somebody on to talk about the stuff we talked about today, whether that be Jimmy Allen talking NASCAR and kicking, or we get Ayrton on talking about how he got in the game and how other people can. So appreciate y'all. Hope you have a good rest of your week. We'll be back. What do you think? Wednesday night, Damon? Thursday morning?
Something like that.
All right. Somewhere around there, usually play it by ear. I'm thankful we canceled last week's episode on Wednesday because I was sucking at the game. I was like 19th in 305 standings. Eric Bridger couldn't do that bad.
Boy, taking shots today.
That's not even a shot. Eric knows he's the best 305 racer in Nashville ever. Why are you laughing at that? That's a shot to Eric even worse.
I think you
Why are you laughing about
out on a national stage, man.
Sure, I guess, but Eric and I are going to play this game sometime. He's going to whip my ass, I feel like.
There you go.
Maybe he won't. Maybe I'm that good at video games. I don't know. I don't race online. It's a wreck fest. What I was told. So
shoot.
Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Have a good rest of your week, and thank you a bunch. Go support Karl Auto Group. Tell them you love us.